We're back.
Hola.
Allah.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do the whole thing in Spanish because we're in the afternoon.
So why would we do it in Spanish if we're in the
We're
after?
switching everything up.
All right. So you take the first 55 minutes of Spanish because I don't know how to speak Spanish, and
All
then I
right.
and then I will look up some Spanish. Some.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Je m'appelle Mike. Um,
Bro just threw French in there for no
bonjour.
reason.
Actually, bonjour. Je m'appelle Bobby. Wrong name. Fuck.
Wrong name.
Dude, I forget. I don't know what show. Yeah, is this the 64-bit Legends? Or shit, dude. All right, welcome to
Bro.
the Legends Clubhouse, man. I don't know what we're doing today. We're here live at noon 30, Eastern Standard Time. It's a
Noon.
Monday.
It is a
Hey, that's
Monday.
why. That's you know why we can get anything straight today?
Mm.
Because it's just another manic Monday. Want it to be Sunday. Hey, you know why? Because that's my fun day. Wish it was Sunday, but it's just another manic Monday. So we're here live on a Monday. I am Bobby
Yeah.
Kaboose, as always, through that screen, through that camera, into that room, with the barely made bed, is Lawson _ Turner. What's going on, underscore? How are you doing?
Bro. It was such a painful weekend for me, man.
Oh
Er,
yeah. You got Ben Johnson.
We
Um,
did.
yeah,
We
yeah.
did, and like going into it, they were down. I don't know their top three leading tacklers, two DBs, and I was like, okay, you know, especially early on, we forced a 3-and-out to start the game, and then the first and 10, pickup of 9. I'm like, okay, let's run the ball again, keep the chains moving. Nope, let's huck it 40 yards down the field for a pick. And I'm like, nice, love that for me.
Like a
And
punt.
yeah, it was like an arm punt. Only problem was it was 2nd and 1.
Well,
But
before we get into
yeah,
your, Steelers, I told you they were only going to win
shithousery.
4 games.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you do this weekend? What's going on this weekend?
My sister had her baby shower, and so we did that on Saturday.
That's way more important than football. So tell me about this baby
Um, her name is
and
going to, and the shower.
the baby and the shower.
So the baby's name is going to be Sienna.
Sienna. So it's a girl.
Yes. So
Yeah.
me and my sister, our names, start with L. My nephew's name is Sean, so she wants to keep like the S's, kind of how we had like
Oh,
the
I was
L's.
thinking Sienna was with a C.
No, she's doing it with an S.
Okay.
Yeah, different. Want to be different. And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then so we did that, and that took up all of Saturday, and we just kind of hung out at her place, ate. Everybody else drank, not
What was
me.
your gift for this so-called baby?
What was my gift?
Yeah.
It's me. I was the gift.
Well, that sucks. She already better know that she's got a shitty uncle.
Hey, dude,
Um,
someone's got to
what's
be
a shitty uncle? Like a fun uncle is a funkle. Is a shitty uncle a shunkle?
Shunkle.
Are you a shunkle?
I might be a Shunkle. Dude, it was so funny because
Yes.
cause they moved out like a couple weeks ago, and I ain't seen my little baby nephew since then. And when Buddy woke up from his nap, bro saw me and just because I was on the couch watching or on my phone or whatever, doing whatever. Bro just walked up and just jumped on me and was just sitting here chilling. I was like, all right, dude, yeah. And then I was like, okay, well this is classic. Hey, dude, I ain't seen you in a minute. I'm finna walk over and just get all up in your business.
Yeah, man.
But yeah,
That's what
dude, it
they
was
do.
awesome. Yeah.
Dude, so what do we do? Um we didn't do much. We hung out. We watched Jingle All the Way. I'm sure you're familiar with the movie Jingle All the Way,
Yeah.
right? Well, for some reason, I was thinking, Booster, the Turbo Man's sidekick. For some reason, I thought he was a giant beaver and
Mm.
he was brown. I don't know what I was thinking of because the girlfriend was like, "No, you dumbass. He's pink and he's not a beaver." And I'm like, "No, he's a beaver and he's brown." And so she's like, "Oh, okay, let's watch it." So we watch it, and it's definitely pink and it's a saber tooth. Um,
Ah, so it's not a beaver.
it's not a beaver, so I don't know what the fuck I was thinking of. I remember a giant beaver in a movie that was brown. But anyway, I came to the realization
Mm.
that Jamie, the little kid in the movie, is a fucking asshole. And you may be like, "Oh my god, you can't call a child an asshole." Well, the kid is yelling at his dad for working. How do you expect to get the Turbo Man if your dad doesn't have a job? All right, your
Mm.
dad needs a job so you can get your stupid little Turbo Man, right? You deserve a booster. You get the booster. You don't deserve a Turbo Man, Jamie. I'm not gonna go to the stupid parade with you because I gotta get your stupid toys for Christmas so you don't think Santa forgot about you. So, Jamie's just a dickhead the whole time, and he's
Mm.
like, I'm dead, blah, 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 telling, the little fat kid next door, "Oh, your dad's so cool. I wish your dad with his eggnog and cookies and reindeer and shit." Ungrateful little bastard. And by the way, I'm sure he doesn't want that dude as his dad because, hey, 2 or 3 years later, we all know what happened to Phil Hartman, and it's tragic. But maybe you don't want him as your dad.
Maybe not.
But anyway, yeah. So the whole weekend I was talking like Arnold, and I was telling my girlfriend, "You don't deserve a Turbo Man. You're gonna get the booster." So,
That's hilarious.
but yeah, so if I slip into that, it's because I'm used to talking like Arnold the entire weekend.
Nice, nice. And then Sunday was just regular.
Sunday, yesterday, I bowled against the children. I bowled against my nemesis. My nemesis is a 12-year-old girl named Natalie.
Did
And
you
I
win?
fucking kicked her ass, dude. We not only did we win every single game, um, in the second game she had a chance to beat me, but I threw like four strikes in a row at the end of the game, to end up with I believe I ended up with a 177, and
Nice.
she finished the game with like a 154. So I was like,
Mm.
fuck yeah, didn't lose against a 12-year-old.
A 12-year-old bowling at 150 is kind of crazy.
Dude, there's a kid that's probably he might be 10 or 11 now. I think he's probably 11.
Mm.
He averages like a 180. He's a little bitch though, dude. Like he's a little like the kid like
Calling little
the
kid
his,
bitches is crazy.
well, because his parents, and it's maybe not his fault because his parents don't discipline him. His parents act like he's their meal ticket, and like he literally bosses his parents around. His
Like he's the next
dad
Pete Weber.
Yes, his dad will go like make multiple trips out to the car to bring not only his own stuff in, but his child's stuff in while his son's sitting at the table with his feet up. Um, he comes around, he's super nosy. Like if you have something on your table, like it doesn't matter if it's food, money, whatever, he'll come over and try to touch it and take it, and you're like, dude, this isn't your shit. Get away from my table. Like he's
Right.
tried to take McDonald's breakfast sandwiches out of the bag from me and my dad. He's tried
What?
to take like one of the girls. She usually around the holidays she'll give like each team like a bag of candy or like a little treat or whatever. He came like last year for Christmas. We get like this little gingerbread house. It was like a cardboard house,
Yeah.
but it was full of candy. And he comes over and he's like, "Oh," like trying to look, and like my girlfriend like just moved it out. She's like, "Excuse me, like this isn't your stuff. Like go to your table."
That's
And he's
insane.
old enough to know better. And then on top of that, a few years ago, his mom was like, he had like an attitude one Sunday, and she's like, if you keep acting up this way, I won't take you open bowling after this because he was supposed to go like practice after, and he goes, "You can't tell me what to do. I'm the boss," and I'm like. Oh shit. So like, dude, I had like flashbacks of like, if I were to say that to my mom and like just, and then I would just be seeing red like a cartoon, like pow, 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 right?
Right.
And then being like, now see straight for a minute. Um,
That's
this
crazy,
mom
dude.
just fucking rolled over and took it, dude. Did not say a fucking word after. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, he's definitely like, I mean, his high game is probably a 250 or something. Like
That's
he's a
still
very good
insane.
bowler. They have somebody in their family that like owns a bowling alley, so he like literally bowls every single day of his life.
Yeah.
He's up there. His dad's fucking taking video so he can like watch tape and scout or whatever the fuck, dude. Like, I'm like,
Look at
dude,
your release point on the ball.
yeah.
It's
I'm
insane.
like, dude, so that's why I call him a little bitch. Cause
Funny.
he has no manners, he has no parents with backbones, terrible parenting, terrible child, terrible all around. And like if I could boot a 12-year-old in the face or 11-year-old, or if I could hire an 11-year-old to boot him in the face, I would.
Nice. That's hilarious.
But yeah, so I destroy my nemesis.
Mm,
See, me and my nemesis are actually like somewhat cool, but we're like competitive. Like I'm like, no, you can't beat me. And then it's hard to talk shit to a 12-year-old when you
right.
can't. One time I called her, I told her that I was like, well, your parents didn't tell you that you're adopted. And then she was like, ow, that was harsh. Um,
I would have told her
but like,
Santa's not
she'll
real.
come up with some creative shit, and I'm like, dude, I can't talk shit back to you because I'm not allowed, I can't be like, go fuck yourself, you know, it's a 12-year-old. So,
that's
um,
that's funny.
well, yeah. So, but my buddy, he shot a 289 yesterday. First game
Nice.
had a 700 series. My other buddy, who was like 10 pins away from a 700 series, I bowled over average all 3 games. So we actually absolutely destroyed this team, with my nemesis on it. And otherwise, I came home. I relaxed during the Lions game. The girlfriend went out to a brunch with friends.
Mm.
Met her up later at the bar for a drink, picked her up, took her back to her car, got dinner, settled down for the night. I got up at 5:30 in the morning to go, dash around, and
Mm.
now I'm here.
Nice. And when you mean by relax during the Lions game, there was probably no point in which you were relaxing until the first play of overtime.
I mean, they didn't have the lead until they won the game or they
Right.
scored in overtime, right? If for some reason I always like even like when they were down 10 in the fourth, like I actually had this like moment where I was like, I should put a ton of money on the Lions money line and the Chiefs money line. Both of them were down, but I was like, both are gonna win, dude.
You got a
Both
feeling.
are gonna win. So, but didn't do it.
Damn, we'd be
But
zillionaires right
man,
now.
I know. Jameer Gibbs though.
Dude,
Um, so are is it okay to say, or are we safe to say, is he the best running back in the league, or is Jonathan Smith still the best running? Like
Jonathan Smith.
who huh? Or
Jonathan
Jonathan
Smith.
Taylor, whatever I do. I got my fucking state
Yeah.
hoodie on.
Hmm.
Jonathan Smith's on the mind. We want him out of here. So Jonathan
Um.
Taylor, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, or Jameer Gibbs, or Bijan. Who's the best?
I'd give it
Or is
to.
it Rashad Mendenhall?
Don't don't bring me back to someone who fucked my Super Bowl. Anyways, so fucking. Now I'm thinking of the first play in the fourth quarter when he fumbled in the Super Bowl against. No, but realistically, I'd probably give it to Jameer. His speed alone is game breaking.
Hmm.
Like er, Bijan is shifty. Jonathan Taylor's got breakaway speed, but the from when Jameer gets the ball, he goes from a nice average NFL speed to his maximum speed in about 4 steps, 3 steps, four
Dude,
steps.
0 to 60,
And
bam.
dude, and when y'all got the ball down 10 in the fourth, and boom, 49-yard touchdown run. And I'm like, and it all happened in about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then the first play of overtime, I was like, oh, I flipped the game on because my game was fucking over at the time. And I was like, oh, I want to see. And then first play, 69-yard touchdown. And I'm like, thank God I got him in fantasy, but he might be one of the fastest players I've ever seen.
The funny thing about that, man, and I saw this actually, and I saw it on the old X machine, and I kind of laughed because it is so true. Um, there was a picture of Jahmyr Gibbs, and it was like, do you remember, Lions fans being pissed when he got drafted? Because it was like, we're drafting a fucking running back. Like,
Like
what do
15th
we do
overall.
here? Yeah. And, now everyone looks fucking stupid. I mean,
Uh-huh.
speed kills, dude. That's why, like, I love that pick when it happened. I loved Jameson Williams when it happened.
You can't
Because
you can't teach. Yeah, I can't coach
right,
speed.
exactly. And on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, like,
Mm-hmm.
you want your linebackers to be able to pursue those dudes, quickly, take the correct angles, all that. So, like you said, you can't teach speed, and when you have so much of it on the field at once, what are you gonna do?
Pick your
Like
poison.
some of those runs yesterday. I mean, I think did he have 4 touchdowns?
He had 3 touchdowns, 15 carries for 216 yards, I think.
Yeah, the 264 total. So he had a receiving touchdown and 2 rushing
Yeah,
touchdowns,
yeah,
and then he should have had a third rushing touchdown.
yeah, but
But he knocked out of bounds or something.
yeah, but that was 2 plays later when he scored the receiving touchdown, so it wouldn't have been a touchdown regardless. Yeah,
Okay, so but he would have had a long running touchdown,
yeah,
dude. Some of those, because most of them were around 50 yards or more. Some of those, dude, I'm like, I couldn't believe that the other players couldn't catch up to him. I'm like, it doesn't even look like he's going that fast, and I'm like, he's just blowing past these motherfuckers. Like, they didn't, like, the one in overtime. I don't even know if he was touched.
no,
Like, it was just like, dude, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why don't we see this all the fucking time?
yeah.
And
His three longest runs were the 49-yard rush to the one, the 49-yard TD in the fourth, and then the 69-yard first play of
yeah,
overtime.
but yeah, so
Nice.
you just have this breakaway speed that's like, like I said, man, like, I was expecting someone to be able to cut him off on the angles or something, and I'm like, dude, it looks like he's like a sixth grader running against third graders. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Which I love having it on my team, don't get me wrong, but I'm like,
Right.
still, like, dude, these other dudes are professional athletes and they can't touch you? Like, shit. But,
It's insane,
you
dude.
know, it was not pretty. It's a little concerning. It's a little concerning for the Detroit Lions because, the Giants, I think, only have like 2 wins this year. The spread was 13.5. Someone mentioned that to me in the morning yesterday, and I was like, man, if I was a betting man, there's no way I would there's no way I would lay 13.5 points. And the only reason that I wouldn't was because of the opposing quarterback. Jameson Winston, or I'm getting all confused.
Too many
It's a
J's,
fucking
too many
too many
names,
J's,
almost close.
too
Yeah.
many Winstons, too many instances. But I even told the people, at bowling in the morning, I go, watch Jameis Winston put up 500 yards. Like, he will throw, because the Lions defense, they're an edge rusher away from having a very good, pass rush. They didn't address it in the offseason. They didn't address it at the trade deadline. People are kind of pissed about that, to get someone on the other side of Aiden. Aiden was kind of taken care of yesterday by their left tackle, except for that last play of the game.
Mm.
And the secondary is always questionable, and it seems like they always get like big pass interference calls anyway. So I'm like, Jameis has no shame, dude. Jameis will sling that shit all over the place. He don't give a fuck if he throws interceptions. He's out there to compete. Like, he is what he is. He might throw 5 touchdowns, he might throw 3 interceptions and 500 yards all in the same game. But that's who he is. And I go, there is no way that they're going to keep this guy off the scoreboard. They're going to have to outscore him. They're not going to score 50. And if you look at Lions games, besides that Bears game, which I think they just made a statement against Ben Johnson, most of the games have seemed pretty damn close. So if you didn't take the 13.5, you missed out on a lot of money to be made.
It's Jameis. And when you were talking, I wanted to bring up not just that this was the last leg of a legendary parlay that I made, but like you look last year against when he was in Cleveland and they went 2 Mile High, and he threw for 497 yards and 4 TDs and 3 picks. That's just his willingness to attack every blade of grass on that field.
Yeah.
On any given Sunday is something that. And his willingness to, once again, I don't care if I throw 3 picks. I'm gonna keep slinging it. I think if I remember correctly, the Giants got the ball. Either they got the ball first, or they forced a 3-and-out like super early, and then they worked all the way down the field, and there was the double pass touchdown. I was like, oh, so this sets the tone for what the game's gonna be. The Giants are just gonna throw and empty every single thing out. And I don't know if you saw, but the Giants released their defensive coordinator this morning. But that's funny. It makes me laugh because Jameis Winston was making Wan'Dale Robinson just look unguarded, like he was throwing him open, fitting into tight windows, finding him almost at will. And there was a certain point where, once again, if you're laying a touchdown or more against Jameis, it's like it's Jameis Winston, dude. His willingness to huck it. And after the touchdown catch that he had, I genuinely was like, holy fuck, he might be the best player in the NFL, just because. And even after the game, he said, I can play tight end if they need me to. I'm ready to, do whatever this team needs me to do to try and help us win. And I'm like,
I mean, the way he came back onto the ball seems like he's played some kind of receiver at some point,
right?
And then he breaks a tackle from a linebacker and just kind of shoves him down and walks into the end zone.
The play looked like it took 8 seconds.
I know, and
everyone else is standing around because they're like, "Oh, he's got him."
Right, and I don't know when it was, but he had thrown one ball that it seemed like he just went like kids in the backyard, like, let's play 500, like dead or alive, and just fucking threw it like 1,000 yards in the air. And like I'm like, when is this thing coming down? And the receiver like circled around the defender. I think the defender like fell or something. And he caught it. I'm like, what the fuck? It was like a 40-yard pass on a 4th down or something.
There was a third and I think there was like a 3rd and 17 where he just hucked it to Theo. Hucked it to Theo Johnston, their tight end, and it's just like. It's literally like playing jackpot, dead or alive, and just hucking it up to see who's gonna come down with it. But
it's like, okay, like essentially he's like, I'm just gonna throw this in the air. My receiver is bigger than your defender, and it's 1-on-1. Just go get it.
Right, and end all be all, at least make sure it's an incompletion.
Yeah.
That's what the NFL modern day, if the NFL were to draw up, this is what I want every game to look like. The game had over 1,000 yards of offense.
Yes.
And I also didn't know until after the game, circle back to Jahmyr Gibbs when I was looking at the box score. Motherfucker had 11 catches.
Yeah. For only like 40 yards, though.
Yeah, he had 11 catches for 45 yards, which is kind of...
There's a lot of those swing passes, and New York played them very well. They blew him up behind the backfield a few times.
There was the play before the 59-yard field goal where Jahmyr caught like a 12-yard angle route to get like right on the cusp of field goal range. And then 2 plays later, Jared Goff there was a swing pass, they lose like 4 yards. I'm like, oh, that just took him out of field goal range.
Was that when they ran the swing pass back to back?
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you literally ran it was like playing Madden. Like, okay, I'm gonna run it this way, and then I'm gonna flip the play and run it that way. What
And
the fuck?
great play by the linebacker because they sent somebody in motion all the way across the formation to get him to like track, and then he just immediately bailed to the swing pass. Once again, great play by him. But it almost Jake Bates made his money with that 59-yard kick, and
Yeah. Oh, dude, it just squeaked in there.
dude,
It was a weird angle. I was like, I didn't know if it went in at first. I was like, and I'm like, all right, we got him.
Once again, I love football and all that jazz. I'm not a Lions fan, but right when he kicked that, I squatted and I was like, oh, does he have the leg? And it just
And that's why we call him the master around here.
You said you call him the what? The master?
Yeah.
Dude, he's awesome. Having a good kicker is just such an exhale. It's like a.
So you know why we call him master, right?
Why?
Dude, think about it. His last name. Yeah. So no, it's funny because like he'll be kicking a field goal, and if we're watching at the bar, we got a buddy that he's an older gentleman who's got Lions tickets, and he's very enthusiastic about the Lions. He'll be like, "Oh, let's go, stop!" And like the whole bar is like, "What the fuck?"
It was so funny because your mic peaked, so it sounded like you were just like in a little box yelling out of it.
Oh god. But yeah, let's move on. The Chicago Bears.
Bro.
You got Ben Johnson. I didn't see any of this, but I could have told you that the Steelers suck at the beginning of the year, which I did. So it just seems like another instance of the Steelers sucking.
Well, so we were up 7 in the second quarter. Caleb had one of the more boneheaded plays that I'd ever seen. We pinned them deep. They were on like the goal. They were either on the goal line, within the 5, whatever. Because Caleb was not running around the end zone, but he was rolling right in the end zone, and he held the ball in one hand. And if you're a quarterback, if you hold the ball in one hand, sometimes some scary shit's gonna happen. And T.J. Watt sacked him in the end zone, and it broke. He was half a sack behind J.J. Watt, so that surpassed J.J. Watt, and it forced a fumble which Nick Herbert picked up. Great touchdown Steelers. But the thing about all of it is, I was like, okay, they haven't been able to run the ball all game up to that point, and they didn't have that much success till later in the game. But I was like, okay, that could be Caleb is. I like to compare Caleb to Aroldis Chapman. Everything is 104.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of just touch on a lot of intermediate passes and stuff like that. He's zipping everything. And there were a couple plays where at the end of the first half they ended up kicking 3 because we dropped a pick. Going up against the Chicago, I think was either number 1, number 2 in takeaways. They had 2 yesterday. They had the pick. They had another 50-50 ball that the DB had hands on it, but it got broken up. And then Montez Sweat took over the game in the fourth. He had a strip sack early in the third, and then I think he got his second sack midway through the fourth. Can't remember. But Darnell Washington is a beast. 6'7", 315 pounds, and he's a tight end. But you don't leave tight ends one-on-one with any edge rusher ever. I don't care how good of a blocker they are. And that was the play that Mason Rudolph got sacked from behind, fumble, ball out, and then we were chasing the rest of the game. There was a play early on in the second quarter where we were up 14-7, working our way down. We're in field goal range, 4th and 1. And we tried the funky QB sneak that right when we were short, I'm in a call with my buddies. We're all watching our teams play. Immediate thought process: I'd kick this ball. You go up by 10. You have the momentum going in the first half, and they go for it, don't get it, and then they tie it up on the other end. So, it's just one of the things where I understand in theory going for it, but if you have one of the best kickers in the league, and to extend A one possession game, whether it be 7 or 3 or whatever, is that's awesome to play with a lead. However, it's better than playing with a one score lead. Playing with a 2-score lead.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I don't know how closely you were watching the Lions game, but the Giants had a similar situation where they go down to the field, they go for it on 4th and goal
Yeah, from the
instead of taking a field goal to
Uh-huh.
force it to 6 instead of 3. And then now you get stopped, and the Lions just need to get in field goal range.
Right.
It's a whole different ballgame if you have to score a touchdown versus kicking a
100.
field goal.
Right.
So, you prove your point right there. When you leave points on the board, that can happen.
They'll come back to bite you in the ass. And then continue.
I was gonna actually
Yeah.
move on to a question. Do you think the JJ McCarthy experiment is over?
Get that bum out of the NFL.
You said it, man.
They had 3 turnovers and 4 yards in the second half.
Yikes.
Once again, do I agree with the moving on from Sam? Because once again, we've seen players in the NFL and teams pivot just like that.
Yeah.
The Steelers, not in the same boat, but we drafted Kenny Pickett, played him for 2 years. They didn't think it was working. Trade, pivot. And when you they drafted JJ 9th overall, 11th overall.
9th, 12th, somewhere in there. He was a top 15 pick, I believe.
I understand in theory doing what they did, and Sam was excellent due to McCarthy's injury and letting Sam walk out the door. When you invest a top 15 pick in a player, I gotta see it. However, Kevin O'Connell wants to throw the ball 40 times a game, and JJ McCarthy is not a player to throw the ball 40 times a game. And it's no credit to his own, but we've seen just this year. Look at the backups that come in and looked fine in one games. Like, Mac Jones, Jacoby Brissett, hell, Shedeur Sanders, that I'm sure we'll get to, yesterday.
Jameis should have won that game yesterday.
Right. And it's the fact that even if he wasn't the starter, I don't know how many teams that he'd be a backup quarterback on.
Right. Well, dude, I told you, and I had this debate with my buddy. My buddy was like, no, I think and my buddy's a State fan, a Michigan State fan. So it's not like he was a Michigan slappy, but he was like, no, I think JJ McCarthy's going to have a very great career. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I know. And, again, it's super early in his career.
Right.
Third year, right? Third year? Second? Okay.
So if you want to get technical, he's a rookie because he didn't play last year, but, rookies.
Yeah. So I was like, but dude, at Michigan, he handed the ball off. He did play action passes. Like, it's like you can't, college is a lot easier to rely on those two things than the NFL. Like the NFL, like you have to take your game up, be able to read defenses, be able to do this, be able to do that. And I just don't think he can. I think he's going to be the worst quarterback out of those 5 that were taken in the first round. And again, what harm would it have done to either franchise tag Sam Darnold or just sign him for a year and be like, okay, let's make sure, okay, Sam, we appreciate you taking us 15-2 last year. We're gonna sign you back, but you are gonna be the veteran to this guy. You are gonna, back him up.
Yeah.
And at this point in the season, you go over to Sam Darnold and you're like, hey, our season's on the line. You got to get out there. And, at least you have that option. Now, they're like, okay, do you draft another quarterback? Do you try to trade JJ? Or do you go and sign one of these dudes that, one of these backups that have proven that it can actually win a game in the NFL?
The thing, too, is like, when there were reports coming out that they're trying to fix his mechanics in season, I mean, just look at when the Packers tried to fix Aaron Rodgers' mechanics. Now, granted, he wasn't a starter yet, but it took him years because all of it's muscle memory. And to fix that in the middle of a season, it's impossible. And the fact, the fact that example, you give Kevin O'Connell a time machine. I promise you, he does not let a 35 touchdown, quarterback walk out of the
You're right.
door. And
Absolutely.
like I understand I need to see whatever he is, good, bad, or indifferent, but it's been so ugly. JJ had one performance in college where he really was impressive to me, and it was that Alabama game the year they won the national championship. And it's like there was a game, I think it was against Penn State, where they handed the ball off like 29
Yeah.
times in a row.
Yeah, and that's when they drafted him in the first round like that, that's immediately what I thought of is that game because I'm like they had an entire second half that they didn't throw the ball. Like,
No screens, not even a touch pass,
oh,
nothing.
and you're like, okay, you're gonna draft this guy this high? Like JJ should have been a third or fourth rounder.
I was.
And
Mhm.
not I don't I wouldn't have thought he was a franchise quarterback, but you do you.
He's a
Um,
you do
but
you. I know you
I mean,
appreciate it.
going from a sophomore quarterback to a rookie, you mentioned Shadur. I didn't get to see much of this game or any of the highlights. I know they beat the Raiders, but that's not very hard to do
Yeah,
these days. So what did you think about Shadur's debut as a starter?
I thought he let it all out there, and I put out an article last week as to what what to expect and what's on the line for Shadur.
Mhm.
And Kevin Stefanski refused to name a starter next week. Shadur impressed me that he'll at least get another chance. Like it was a
If you
not
win a game, you should probably be able to start another game,
right.
regardless of who it's against.
Right. The thing with me is I was not a Shadur fan coming out. I thought he was the second best quarterback, and I was surprised as to how the fall. But for every question that I could have had, once again, it's against the Raiders. He is one for one in. I was thoroughly impressed. There was a different spark and a different juice. He had one play to Isaiah Bond where he just rolled right and hucked it, and
I saw that highlight this morning.
and I thought Shadur has a I think Shadur has a good arm. I don't know if it's a great arm. And one of the things that when I'm looking at quarterbacks now, I'm not a professional scout or anything like that, but when I'm looking at quarterbacks in college, one thing you have to have a superpower, whether it be
Your hand
accuracy,
size.
intent, huh?
Your hand size.
Hand size, yeah, that's really important. Whether it be accuracy, arm strength, escapability, intangible, something has to wow me. And he
Hmm.
was by far the most accurate quarterback in college, last year. And his accuracy was on full display against Vegas. Now he did throw a pick, but it's his first start, and it's not
Hmm.
anything terrible. And I was to spin the block. I was 110%. I was impressed with Shadur, and I'm interested to see what he does next week. Now next week they have the where are we? Next week they're hosting San Francisco. Now San Francisco's defense is banged up, but Robert Saleh has them playing at a I don't know how the hell how the Niners defense is still functional with all those injuries. But it's at home. It should be a semi low scoring game because we know how dominant Cleveland's defense is at home. And I think it was 3 years ago when the Niners actually went to the Super Bowl, or it might have been, yeah, it was the year they went to the Super Bowl that San Fran lost this game in Cleveland. But I'm excited to see what he looks like. But I was impressed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, if you win a game, if you win your opening game, I don't see how you don't start the next week.
He was the first
Um,
Cleveland rookie quarterback to win his first start ever.
yeah, and so and I saw this graphic, and I don't know if he actually said this or somebody just put this as a quote. But if he would have said this is just he's got to smarten up a little bit on what he says because he said something about like, oh, I only had a week to prepare with the starters. Imagine if I have a whole season or something. And I'm like, dude, slow your roll. You know, just slow down a little bit. Just be humble a little bit. You won against the team that's gonna pick number 1 in the draft or number 2. I'm sorry, behind Tennessee. Sorry.
They're a different mess. Vegas is.
Yeah. Well, so Vegas, you know, I didn't like the Geno Smith signing at the beginning of the year anyway,
And
but
trade.
yeah, I'm wondering if they should go out and get Jameis. I think Jameis should be a starter in this league.
I
Um,
agree,
and what's more Vegas than having Winston just fucking sling it around, you know?
dude.
So
Who?
I that would be awesome. But let me see what other games. Okay, so
Philly blowing the 21-point lead.
I don't care about that. Um this is gonna be hard for me to say.
Okay.
Very hard for me to say.
Very.
But um Stafford might win the MVP. He had a really good game yesterday.
Dude.
He's continuing to have a good season. Like I think this might be his best season ever.
And it's crazy because he like his first year in LA was good, and he had some statistical good years in Detroit. Statistical.
Mhm.
But the thing.
Didn't do anything for the team. This one he's doing, teams rallying behind him. The defense is good. That always helps. But
The defense
I
is
mean,
crazy.
he's got some, and I don't know if he increases because I turned it off because they were blowing him out. But he is, 20. He had 20, at least 27 touchdowns in a row without having an interception.
Mm.
Pretty impressive. Unlike his days in Detroit, it looks like he's putting some more touch on the on his passes. You spoke about who did you just say that has no touch and just zooming?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, so he's got, Caleb's got a, in some point of his career, got to make sure that he starts putting some touch on it, because we all know with Stafford in Detroit, we had a lot of drop passes. He was trying to sling everything in there, throwing it at 100 miles per hour, and it just didn't work out. We had too many drops, but it seemed like as soon as he got to the Rams, he learned how to put some touch on it. So
that first half was just insane.
Yeah. So, and it doesn't, it doesn't hurt that he's got two of the best, two top 10 receivers on his team. So,
100%. It's
and I'm not going to give him 100% credit because he needs everything to go perfect, and he's got two probably Hall of Fame receivers. Probably this might be the best wide receiver duo since like Randy Moss and Chris Carter, right?
like
Who else has a two top 10 receivers?
Depending upon how you value Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Philly has
okay.
Philly has a good top 2, but Devontae Adams is leading the league in touchdown catches.
Yeah.
So and Puka is almost an offense unto himself. Like he's
Puka almost gets 130 yards a game.
Like
so
you look up, he'll have 9 for 140, and JSN is like it. It's funny because I think JSN and Puka have entered like the Jamar and Jay Jettas conversation, where it's like, remember when Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown, and every week you're like, oh, he's just gonna have 8 for 140 every week.
Yeah.
And Puka, I mean, I know he missed a game or two, but you look yesterday, 7 for 97.
Yeah.
It's just, it is almost like clockwork.
Right. So not only is he getting yards after catch, his just his average, if you're averaging 9 to 10 yards of reception, you're doing something right, and usually that number is higher for him. Like I said, like it seems like every week he's putting up 10 and 130. And some of these are screen passes. Some of these, like it's unreal on, like you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, I know he's a running back, but he can catch the ball,
Yeah.
obviously. But he's 11 for 40, right? And so you're like,
Mm-mm.
okay, well, you know,
Like
thanks
Puka's.
thanks for the couple yards reception, but when it's really effective, you're
Mm-mm.
getting into that 90 plus to 150, and it's on a weekly basis. It's not, and when you're betting over unders are like 110 a week, you know, it's pretty
Like
impressive.
Puka's last 4 games: 7 for 97, 7 for 93, 5 for 64 and a touchdown, and then 7 for 98 and a touchdown. So it's just okay. So he'll get 7, 8 catches and 100 yards every week.
Yeah.
He's leading the NFL in catches per game. He's third in receiving yards, and he's still averaging 102 yards from scrimmage per game, which is
Yeah.
ninth, which is kind of insane. Now, I lightly mentioned JSN. He already passed Seattle's single season receiving mark at 1,300 yards, which is insane because they're still.
Thank God they got rid of Metcalf. God, he was
Yeah,
just
yeah, I know.
holding them down.
Yeah, he was holding them down. He's on pace for 2,000, and he'd be the first receiver to hit the 2,000 mark.
Just
I,
think about that. Just think about that, right? So if he hits the 2,000 mark, right,
right,
you're passing guys like Jerry Rice,
Calvin.
who had either Montana or Steve Young during that season. You have Calvin, who had
Stafford.
an overrated Matt Stafford in Detroit.
Yeah.
Um, you're passing guys like Randy Moss, who had either your
Brady, or yeah,
Dante Culpepper in his prime, Tom Brady. Uh, you know, you're passing all these guys, right? And then you look at JSN, and you look over, and there's a redheaded fuck named Sam Darnold throwing the ball to you.
like
You know,
his.
and Sam Darnold, again, second year in a row, proving that he's balling.
He's just
Don't
one of
know if
them
he can
dudes
win a
now.
big game, but we'll see him get bounced in the wild card probably per usual. But if he's able to break this record and have it, I think people are gonna look back and be like, who's this quarterback that year? Sam fucking Darnold?
It's
The
even more
fuck?
funny too because we were talking about it, and it's an interesting question that I'll ask after I bring up where the conversation took us to like stats,
Yeah.
and we were just and I said, well, with the 17 games, a lot of the stats about like the older players, it's just gonna be.
Mhm.
I think eventually there'll be like little asterisks, like
Yeah.
when Jim Brown was dominating the NFL, there were 12. And then
Yeah.
it got bumped to 14, now 16, and now with the 17th game, when in 10 years from now, when you look back on those older players, they're like, well, how really good were they? Their stats were ass.
Hmm.
What in which it's the changing of the NFL, and
Right.
the question was, who's the most overrated player in NFL history?
Matt Stafford.
Well, let's go like historically legend wise. Like who's the most overrated like legend of all time?
Emmett Smith.
I That's a good one. I said Joe Namath, but
Yep.
and that's what, and they were like, why? And I was like, well, if you look back then, he completed 49% of his passes. Granted, it was a different year, and then I brought up the conspiracy theory of he sold his soul to the devil for the Super Bowl. But yeah,
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith's a really good one because all time leading rusher, but name your like quintessential Emmitt Smith moment.
That dude, if you weren't around, so like you weren't in the times, right?
Right,
So
I can
like
go back and watch tape, but I wasn't like
no,
in the
no, yeah,
yeah.
you're right. Yeah, exactly. Dude, maybe they always say that the Cowboys, the 90s Cowboys offensive line could have
Oh,
been could
dude,
have been maybe the best in NFL history.
Just look up
Um,
Larry Allen, and that's who he's
yeah,
running behind.
Larry Allen, they had this motherfucker benching over 700 pounds
On
on Thanksgiving. Like they showed the tape, and they had like three guys on each side spotting him. And this bar was, it looked like it was gonna snap in half.
I don't know if you.
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue. I was.
so, in back in the 90s, obviously I was a child, and obviously I grew up in the Detroit area, so Barry Sanders was our guy, and it was always the comparison: who's better, Barry or Emmett? Barry or Emmett? Dude, Barry would have Barry would have had the year he had 2,000 yards, he would have had 2,500 yards with the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. Because if you look at his highlights, there are so many times where he's trapped behind the line of scrimmage and does his greatest Harry Houdini act and
Yeah.
escapes and is shaking and baking all these motherfuckers, making them look silly. And Emmett Smith is just, he was it just seemed like a downhill runner, and
Until he wouldn't get
if he
touched.
didn't have that offensive line for almost his entire career, there's no way that he would be considered one of all-time greats.
It's so funny because if you were to ask, people who's the best running back, depending upon who you ask, some people say Falk, some people LaDainian Thompson, a lot of people Barry.
Shout out to Marshall Falk.
Huh?
Shout out to Marshall Falk.
Just depending upon who you.
Talking about Kevin Falk or whoever played for the Patriots.
Yeah, not Kevin Falk. Hell, some people might say the best running back I ever saw was Adrian Peterson, or some people might say, Eric Dickerson. The thing,
Eric Dickerson, I like it. They gave it. I'm not making fun of you, man. They gave you some emphasis, dude.
Hey, he had the big funky goggles on. Yeah, dude. Fucking yeah. The thing for me, it's like with Emmett, he was really good. But if you ever go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I've never been, but I've seen pictures of this. They have like gloves and stuff, like hand sizes that you can put around a football, and it's like, oh, this player's hand size was this big. And then they have some of your thick boys where here was their leg sizes. They have Larry Allen's leg size like right there. His thigh could fit like 18 children in it.
Yeah.
Like, it was the definition of tree trunk legs. And
dude, if you look at Barry's fucking legs, the dude was only like 5'8".
Yeah.
His fucking legs was fucking huge too. That's why I was I'm a fan of Ashton Genty because he's got those big ass thighs too. And you're like, man, if you got big thighs as a running back, that's gonna be tough to take you down.
Look at Saquon. Saquon's got crazy quads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing is to talk about like who's the most overrated like legend of all time. Like, I don't know, you could go through the list of like put Hall of Fame caliber players where some people's criteria is, can the NFL story be told without you? Then you shouldn't be in and stuff like that. So it's just really interesting when you come down to who gets in, who doesn't, XYZ, all that and above.
Right. And it's so much of like the almost what ifs of, especially in football. Like it's like the what ifs of like, okay, what organization drafted you? What team did you actually get an opportunity to play for? Because like you said, like if you reverse Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders,
Barry rushes for 20 billion yards.
Yeah, Barry Sanders is by far the greatest running back anyone has ever seen on the Dallas Cowboys. Emmitt Smith on the Lions,
he'll be a nice player.
He's probably what's his name? James Stewart. Like the dude that I think James Stewart was the dude that followed Barry Sanders for a year. He was a running back for Jacksonville, came over here for a year, sucked. And you're like, okay,
it's not Barry.
It's not Barry, dude. And like Barry created those plays. Like it was not like, oh my God, he had so much protection and this big hole to run through. The motherfucker was getting hit in the backfield more often than not and
It's
able to create. So, yeah, you put Emmett Smith on a team like that, he's not going to be able to barrel people over, or like if he's not finding holes or whatever, like that ain't happening.
yeah,
Sorry, all you Cowboys fans.
sorry, Cowboys fans, but he was one of the triplets, and so
Yeah.
not to discredit because he rushed all time NFL leading rusher. We're not going to talk about his days in Arizona, but
Also, longevity. Like people people look at these stats and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe, enter whatever player stats, blah 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 blah. Well, yeah, he's been in the league for fucking 20 years. Like,
do you
that does
think?
say something about you, but that doesn't mean that you're a Hall of Fame caliber player.
I was just about to say, do you think that that is a testament, like a skill, or like
No.
example? Look at Frank Gore. He's got 15,000 yards. I think he's the third all-time leading rusher. Do you think Frank
Yeah.
Gore is going to get in?
I mean, probably because they're gonna look at that
Well,
stat, but it's
would you
like I
put him
said,
in?
what I know. He was never a top 3 to 5 player in his position. He just played a long time. Flacco, same thing. Like Flacco's been playing for what 37 years now.
Yeah, and
And
he's
he's
got a
played
shitload
on
of
I think
stats.
I think he's played on every AFC team in the league. Like that's great. You're durable. You take care of your body. But it's also like, okay, look at Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson. I'll keep going back to the Lions because
They keep it,
I
yeah.
know about it. They played 10 years, and they were like, I'm out. Both retired at like the age of 30.
Hmm.
And that's their prerogative. They don't want to play football anymore. That's fine.
Right.
But if you do, you shouldn't. I guess you shouldn't be rewarded for being like, yeah, I want to play another year. And yeah, I'm still good enough to be in this league, but that doesn't mean I'm an all-time great. It means
Mm,
I still want to play and I'm good enough to still be in the NFL or said sport.
that's interesting.
You know, like that's like Jamal Crawford, not a Hall of Fame player to me.
What's the
You know,
I was gonna say, well, the thing for because basketball's completely different because it's the
right,
basketball Hall of Fame, so
right.
you can get in for college, what you did overseas,
College.
X Y Z, and all that jazz. Yeah, the the thing with players like that, and I do not want to open that can of worms because once again, basketball's like a complete. I think the basketball is such a completely different Hall of Fame. It's kind of like baseball's kind of funky too, for
Mhm.
because you'll have a lot of the, some of your historically great players where it's like, oh, Hall of Fame. Mm.
Yeah, baseball I think is the hardest to get in. Um, but yeah, we'll have to talk.
Yeah,
We'll have to talk more about Hall of Fame standards another
yeah.
day.
I was gonna say, shit, we could dedicate a whole show of like fucking 40 minutes a piece on just every single sport
Every
because
single exactly.
there are so many players that are out that should be in that could be out, X Y Z and all that
Mhm.
jazz. But to circle back to this week, um, you didn't, because you were so, I'm sure, locked in on the Lions game. You didn't see much of the Chiefs game, did you?
I did not. I saw that they won in overtime. I told you to take the 3.5 points. And I thought it was going to be either a Colts win or a Chiefs blowout. It was
Yeah.
almost a Colts win. It should have been a Colts win. But do you have any last minute thoughts before we wrap up the show?
No, other than the Chiefs now have to play, they're playing on Thanksgiving in Dallas without Trey Smith, who's Trey Smith, their guard, who's excellent. He's dealing with high and low ankle sprains, which is kind of nuts. Might as well play with one foot, but he's gonna be out an extended period of time. And Joe Burrow is expected to be back on Thanksgiving,
Nice. So that's
as
a
of
turkey treat for all of us.
while the show's
So
going. Yep.
cool. So thank you for joining us here at New Leaf News presents the Legends Clubhouse on New Leaf News's YouTube channel. We will be back on Wednesday, same time, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Same as Friday. We're gonna try this little new schedule out for a little bit. So thank you for joining us. You hit that subscribe button. Make sure you have your lunch with us. Feel free to go to newleafnews.com/network. Both of them take you to the same great site. We have daily content, whether it's sports, entertainment. Speaking of entertainment, one of our writers, Zach, just put out a an article about Wicked, Wicked for Good. The new Wicked came out. It was huge in the box office. So check out his article. Make sure you see what he thinks about it before you go see it, or if you saw it, see if you agree with them. So go check out newleafnews.com/network. You'll get all the great daily content. We have a team of phenomenal writers out there. Go if you have social media. Obviously, go follow us on our social media. We are at New Leaf News on X, Instagram, Twitter, or no, that is X. What is it? Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky. I'm kind of butchering this little last final thing because I was clicking around on my computer. Whatever. So go check us out at New Leaf News. We appreciate the follow. Also, you can check me out on Instagram, on X, at Bobby Kaboose. That is on the same two platforms at Lawson_1226. Hey man, a month and 2 days away from your birthday. Do you have your Amazon wish list out there for people to buy you stuff?
No, but more semi-breaking news. The Browns are naming Shadur Sanders as their starting quarterback next week.
All right. Well, that was predicted. So, all right, cool. So, other than that, man, make sure. Hey, there's nothing on his wish list, so there's nothing to clear out. It's his fault if he doesn't get a Christmas gift at this point. We've been promoting it for 3 months. Anyway, join us back here on Wednesday, Lawson. If you want to take us out, appreciate you guys having lunch with us, and have a great manic Monday.
Manic Monday. Once again, for New Leaf News and the Legends Clubhouse, I am Lawson Turner, and that right there is Bobby Kaboose. We will see beautiful people Wednesday at, what we say, 12:30 again?
12:30.
At 12:30 p.m. I almost said a.m. p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope you enjoy your Monday and Tuesday, and we'll be back once again Wednesday, and we'll see you guys then. Until next time, peace.
6, 7.